From the traditional methods of cultivating and drying scallops to the meticulous harvesting of sea urchins, Japan's seafood industry is renowned for its precision and craftsmanship. Today, we will explore this fascinating industry. Japanese fishermen catch millions of tons of seafood each year, with scallops being a particularly beloved delicacy. The annual harvest of scallops is a staggering 380 million pounds. While natural scallop farming exists, Japan was the first country to widely popularize scallop farming since the 1970s, using two main methods. The first one is the hanging method, where young scallops are suspended in baskets or on ropes submerged in seawater for 2 to 3 years. This method is common in Aomori Prefecture and along the Sea of Japan coast, with harvesting typically occurring between midwinter and spring. In contrast, the seabed ranching and dredge method involves spreading young scallops on fishing grounds for about 3 to 4 years before harvesting them with trawl nets. Scallops farmed this way are popular in Hokkaido and treated as natural, offering catches from early summer to autumn. China used to be Japan's largest scallop importer, but the US has taken that spot in recent years. Over the past 4 years, Japan's scallop exports to the US have soared from £4.9 million in 2020 to £14.7 million in 2023. Scallops are a versatile ingredient in Japanese cuisine, often used in grilled dishes or even eaten raw. Early season catches are usually processed into frozen products, while the main fishing season, starting in June, prioritizes dried scallops. The journey of dried scallops begins when they arrive at processing facilities fresh or in chilled tanks. The scallops are cleaned to remove sand or debris, then briefly boiled to loosen the shells. Skilled workers open the shells and carefully gut them, keeping only the firm adductor muscle. Some facilities use shelling machines to speed up the process. The adductor muscle is then cleaned again and boiled for a precise time based on its size. Afterwards, it is dried in high-temperature ovens, then sun-dried, then rested in wooden boxes. These steps are repeated multiple times to ensure even moisture levels. After a month, dried scallops are inspected and sorted before packaging. Compared to fresh, dried scallops offer a protein punch with a concentration from 20% to a remarkable 65%. Tuna, the sleek and powerful denizens of the deep, are a vital ingredient in the global sushi phenomenon. Every year, the world catches millions of tons of tuna, and Japan is one of the top tuna fishing nations. There are many different types of tuna, but bluefin tuna is the largest of them all. This is also the only species that Oma, Japan's most famous tuna town, focuses on. They use the traditional trolling method. This requires immense skill and patience to land these powerful 100-pound giants. This fish can fetch double the price of the latest Rolls-Royce at the new year. But top chefs worldwide still seek them because they have precious marbling from their fatty diet. However, this fat distribution process needs at least 3 days to complete. So, if a tuna is caught today, it will be packed in the icebox tomorrow morning before being sent to Tokyo for auction. There, these brokers will buy the tuna and sell it to the restaurant owners. To travel long distances like this, tuna must be frozen all of the time. Then, at the auction or the factory, a cut of their tail will be thawed to judge the meat quality and freshness. Unlike Omar's focus on bluefin tuna, commercial tuna fishing utilizes a variety of methods depending on the target species and their location. Purse seining involves encircling schools of fish, typically skipjack and yellowfin tuna, with large nets. Once the net is drawn close, the fish are trapped and then hauled on board. The second method is called rods and lines and is also used in an industrial manner to harvest schools of tunas, usually skipjack and albacore. Tuna are highly perishable due to their fatty flesh, so fishermen need to bleed the fish properly and then flash freeze them after catching them in order to maintain their freshness. Besides eating raw from frozen, tunas are also canned. This process involves cooking the tuna in industrial cookers to ensure proper tenderness. Workers then manually remove the skin, red meat, and bones to make different types of cuts depending on the order specifications. After that, the meat will be canned with water, oil, or other flavorings. Finally, they are sterilized and cooled down before packing. In 2022, about 50 million pounds of tuna were canned in Japan, while the number was even higher in the previous decades. Often mistaken for eggs, the real treasure of sea urchins, known as uni in Japan, lies in their gonads. Each sea urchin contains only 5 gonads, making them a delicacy with a price comparable to Wagyu beef. A 200-gram tray of gonads can cost $100 in the US, but in Japan, this price can be up to 5 times higher. Uni can be harvested in 3 main ways in clear waters. Traditionally, some fishermen observe the seabed from their boats through large goggles. Upon spotting sea urchins, they use a long net attached to a pole to collect them underwater. Sea urchins can be harvested this way if they live in shallow waters. Another method that's popular in both Japan and the US involves diving to depths of around 6 feet and using a handheld tool to harvest and put the sea urchins into a bag. Once it's full, the divers resurface and hand the bag to a crew on the boat. Fishing seasons and harvesting times are tightly regulated and vary region to region in order to protect sea urchin populations. Hokkaido is an ideal feeding ground, offering continuous sea urchin supply from spring to autumn thanks to its abundant kelp forests. Despite being the world's largest exporter of uni, Japan imported only $25.48 million worth of uni from the US in 2023. The most common sea urchin here is the dark purple murasaki in Hokkaido. They can grow up to 4 inches and live up to 15 years in cold waters reaching 6 feet in depth. Another famous variety is the Shakotan sea urchin from the peninsula of the same name. Harvested in July, they are primarily sold on the same day to ensure maximum freshness. The processing of sea urchins is meticulous, avoiding the use of any additives. Once sea urchins are shelled, their bright yellow gonads begin to melt, Traditionally, a chemical called alum was added to prevent this, but its astringent properties could diminish the delicate flavour of the uni. This is why high-end restaurants prefer to order uni from chemical-free processing facilities. After cracking, workers use a specialised spoon to carefully extract the edible gonads, then use tweezers to take out the guts. These two steps can be done the other way around depending on the workflow. Even a small tear or tiny bit of damage can lower the sea urchin's grade and significantly reduce its value. Sea urchins are then sorted by size, colour and firmness before being graded into S, A and B. The S grade in the blue trays are the most luxurious. 400 grams of grade S Hokkaido sea urchins can reach up to $1,800 in cost. After selection, any remaining waste is visibly inspected and removed with tweezers. Premium uni is then carefully packed according to the order weight in wooden boxes, while regular grade uni is placed in plastic trays. It takes about 15 to 20 sea urchins to produce a 100-gram package. Nearly 90% of Japan's top-grade Gokuju or AAA sea urchins come from Rishiri Island. This place is considered Japan's uni heaven, with Rishiri sea urchins sought after by Michelin-starred restaurants worldwide. However, their harvest season is very short, only from June until September. Talking about a game of tug of war, the giant halibut fish will give you a true fight. To conquer an angry monster onto a boat is not an easy task, because at any moment, giant halibut can cause violent shaking. Watch today's video to see how Canadian fishermen catch millions of giant halibut fish. Giant halibut fish are about 1/3 as wide as their length. The underside is white, the upper side is mottled brown. This camouflage helps it lie safely on the seabed, away from predators. This fish can live up to 55 years. Halibut fish often lurk around coral reefs and craggy bottoms to eat small fish and crabs. They can rush up from 100 feet below, making it a battle you'll never forget. Giant halibuts have tail slaps strong enough to break fishermen's arms. Therefore, fishermen are often very careful when pulling the fishing line. Large halibut will require 2 or 3 people to help pull the fishing rod and carry it onto the boat. Halibut fishing requires tools and equipment to ensure a successful and enjoyable fishing experience. Heavy-duty fishing rods can certainly withstand the weight and strength of flounder. For optimal leverage and control, the bar should be approximately 6 to 75 feet long. Besides, fishermen must prepare strong, low-profile bait fishing reels or regular reels with high line capacity, and a smooth drag system can handle heavy lines and resists corrosion from salt water. The weight of fishing boats varies depending on water depth and current strength. However, a heavier fishing boat will ensure the bait reaches the bottom, where giant halibut often reside. Large baits will discourage smaller fish from latching on. This will give you adequate time to soak the large halibut bait. Of course, fishermen may have to wait longer for that giant halibut to appear. Live bait or cut bait is the most popular method for attracting halibut. Sometimes herring, squid, or even octopus tentacles are the bait of choice for fishermen. This usually depends on where they are fishing and the time of year. Besides anchoring the boat, fishermen can move the boat slowly while dragging bait or place bait behind the boat to attract halibut. Boats can be floated by currents or wind to cover a wide area. Before launching the javelin, people will tie the rope at the tip of the javelin to a floating ball. This will allow the spear to penetrate the halibut, and as the float ball moves sideways, the fisherman will know which direction the halibut is going. Finally, they will be put on boats by fishermen for preservation and transport to the mainland. Any fishing method will work. The important point is to never bring live giant halibut onto the boat, because they can cause injury to humans and even death. Not to mention, bringing live halibut onto a boat is a surefire way to sabotage the boat and equipment. Locations such as Haida Gwaii, Prince Rupert, and Canada's central coast of British Columbia are known for their abundance of halibut and offer prime halibut fishing opportunities. July through October is a great time to fish for giant halibut, because halibut will move to many different depths and the weather is generally favourable for fishing. The winter months can still offer halibut fishing opportunities in certain areas. However, colder weather and rougher seas can make fishing more difficult. Proficient halibut hunting requires skill and knowledge. Fishermen will become familiar with the fishing area, study ocean currents and habitat. This helps fishermen easily find halibut at many different depths. Canadian fishermen claim that halibut are more active when the tide changes. They often fish at low tide, where the current is less aggressive, making it easier to maintain the bait at the desired depth. Once ashore, halibut can be frozen and stored for 2 to 3 months or can be prepared fresh. The fishermen use a knife to separate the meat from the bones. The fishermen continue to peel off the skin to keep the fillets. Halibut is usually available in bars or fillets from fishmongers. Halibut pairs well with all types of ingredients and can be prepared in many different ways, such as pan frying, grilling, or deep frying. Besides halibut, giant marlin have a special appeal to fishermen looking for trophy catches. Marlin fishermen explore top destinations worldwide to meet these aquatic giants. From the rich waters of the Azores to the pristine waters of remote Vanuatu, it's the thrill of the chase across the globe. They are considered the king of fish and can be found throughout the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans. These are places with abundant food sources and perfect conditions for marlin. Marlin are highly migratory and travel around the world. One study even tracked a tagged marlin for 9,254 miles. They are strong fish with excellent eyesight and hunting skills. Blue marlin can reach sizes of up to 2,000 pounds and about 12 feet long, making them one of the truly giant fish. This giant fish often roams the sea. It adapts well to all environments. With a diamond-shaped body, a sharp beak to slash through dense flocks of prey, and a dorsal fin that can be folded down into a groove to reduce drag. This is an amazing creature and is popular among the sport fishing community. Marlin requires professional fishermen to have specialized knowledge of the fishery and captains who are truly knowledgeable about the species to increase the success rate of the trip. Their long, sharp beaks make marlins notoriously difficult to catch. In many cases, fish will attack with jumps that will injure fishermen. Marlin are very fast swimmers. They can appear and disappear instantly. For those pursuing blue marlin, their catch reaches its peak from mid-July to early October. During this period, the sea offers not only blue marlin, but also white marlin. The abundance in quantity helps fishermen catch more effectively. The art of fishing with a rod and line has been passed down through generations. Regardless of the story, these are giant fish. However, when facing monsters at sea, fishing is not the only way. What do you think about diving into the sea to hunt? Let's follow these fishermen to catch giant tuna. Similar to halibut and marlin fish, catching a giant tuna is not easy. This is one of the largest species in the ocean, can weigh up to 250 pounds, and they are likened to the mammoths of the ocean. Make sure your gear is clear and your lifeline is not tangled or tangled in the boat, and check that the safety feature is turned off. Before diving, fishermen often breathe deeply and try to focus on their presence underwater. Then choose the appropriate direction of movement and do not rush straight into the giant tuna. Unlike fishing, when fishermen dive into the sea to fight giant tuna, fishermen must manage their time underwater and stay away from the fishing line. Bluefin tuna have incredible stamina but lack explosive attack power. Therefore, fishermen will take advantage of the opportunity to knock it down and bring it onto the boat. They appear all year round, everywhere. Yellowfin tuna is one of the most dangerous species. They are extremely fast, incredibly strong, and highly alert to divers. A yellowfin tuna weighing about 60 pounds could easily drown a diver if he were caught in a buoy line. There are many ways to attract giant tuna. Fishermen can cut fish into small blocks to float along the water, attracting tuna here. Tuna will rush at high speed and with flexible movements, helping them avoid long-range spears. In that case, buoy lines will help fishermen not miss the giant tuna they hit. Without any barriers underwater, giant tuna can easily escape. Therefore, fishermen must have accurate shots and high damage. They often prioritize shooting at the head and tail because this will not damage the valuable tuna meat.